Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thou my mother, thou my father, thou art my friend and companion. Thou my loving, thou my knowing, thou art all in all, O Lord of Lords. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are back to Narada's way of love, and we were reading very important, beautiful verses composed by Narada, where he said, who is that blessed person who can cross the ocean of Maya, this bondage? Who is that? Who can do that? Kastarati, 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 Mayam. Who can? So who indeed overcomes Maya? And this has verse number 46, 47, and 48. And there are qualities of the devotee who is fit for having that greatest power to overcome Maya, has been given the qualities. That means this is very important because we as devotees, we need to inculcate those grand qualities by our prayer, by our attention, by our self-effort. So the first, what we are reading, we are in the middle of that. Last time we read the who can do that. Three qualities have been mentioned. Yasangang stajuti. First quality, he who gives up attachment. The whole world is full of attachment. Everyone is attached to either one thing or the other thing, but not to God. So, first quality is Yah Sangangs Tyajati, who forgives or renounces Sangha, association, attachment to sensory objects, attention to holding on to the objects which drag us down, takes us away from God. First quality is that. Second quality, yo mahanubhavam sevate. You will have to serve, not only attached to the worldly thing, but you have to attach to whom? In the service of the holy people. Or the noble ideals, mahanubhava. Bhava means ideal, bhava means ideas. And third, yo nirmamu bhavati, one who becomes egoless, day by day, less, more, less, egoless. Egoless does not mean that he will be a doormat, but egoless means he knows everything is run by God's will. And they think behind anything happening, the hand of God they look. Whenever it is good, it is bad, everything behind them they can see. It is not me who is doing. The whole play, the world play is going on by God and God's grace. So, three qualities have been mentioned. As I said, one is the Sangha, association, attachment can give up. This is the play of Maya. Because of Maya, always we are running for loving this to loving that to loving that to loving that. Look at our life from childhood till today. When we are babies, we used to love our dolls and we used to cry for the doll, weep with the doll, smile with the doll. No? Then the doll age is gone. Then comes the friends come in the KG school, kindergarten school. And from there we start to go school, school, school. How many friends we have, to whom, how many people we got deeply attached. Huh? Attachment is just like the same attachment, getting connected to one thing, lifted to another thing. And there it goes to another thing. And these are not God. For our immature mind, we go from one attachment which brings suffering to another attachment to which that also brings suffering. So this is the fundamental thing that it is to be gives up attachment. The first. Second, as I said, who serves the great ones, service of the great ones, or service of the ideas in life, you adapt some values of the great people. Following as we are talking the other day, Vivekananda birthday, Vivekananda served Vivekananda. How can you serve Vivekananda? Now, you cannot, but you can serve. Vivekananda's principle, follow that principle, loving others, becoming selfless, and just expanding your heart for the suffering humanity. No? Expand. That is service to Vivekananda. So Mahanubhavam Sivati. And if you can see such great soul, you can serve physically, that's okay. But difficult. Don't go to serve physically. If you go to serve physically, unless you are developed, you will always criticize that guy. He is like that. Because to understand them is very difficult. They live like us. And the third quality is nirmamo bhavati, and me and mine. Ahamidam mamoidam. Shankaracharya says this is the eternal play of the Maya. Ahamidam mamaidam iti naishargiko ayam loko vyavaharo. This is the human interaction goes on like that. So we started reading this, and we have read the explanation a little bit from this Narada's book on page 106. We ended in the middle of the page page 106. Here it is. It has been the chapter we ended there. Constant recollectedness in this connection means the state in which the mind runs towards God, like a steady stream without any break. Page 106, the top. Break is caused by any sort of distraction. So mind should go to God only in such a way, not to other attracting objects, and it should be constant, ceaselessly. It should go by without any distraction. The illustration given is like that: while pouring oil from one vessel to another. When the mind thus runs in steady stream towards God, then the aspirant attains the supreme love and thereby reaches his union with God. So then, through bhakti, one can reach perfect union with God. Christ in the Sermon on the Mount said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." The sign of this purity, what is the sign of this purity? The sign of this purity is constant recollectedness of God, and that is the supreme love for God. What is the proof that you love God? Constant recollectedness of God. It happens in a human relationship. What happens? If one loves anyone, what is the sign of love? Constant recollectedness. He will think of the person whom he or she loves. It's the same for God. If it is you are loving God means, how do you test you? Test yourself. No other testimony is necessary than this self-analysis. See, morning till now, how many minutes, how many seconds you are restless for God. Your mind was thinking of God without anything. How many minutes? How many seconds? Mere saying I am a devotee of God does not make anything. We do live in the world, but our recollectedness of God is not there. Our recollectedness of this man, that man, he said, she said, they said, and all these dual things, political thing going on, social thing going on. Our attachment are all scattered there. So this attachment will not give us freedom. That's why it is purity. Purity of the heart means love for God, means one's heart will be thinking of God constantly. The mind must always think of God, Lord. It is, of course, very hard in the beginning to think of the Lord always. But with every new effort, the power to do so grows stronger in us. So, it's the beginning. I do not know. Are you still in the beginning after 20, 30, 40 years? It is to be judged. It is to be seen subjectively by measuring from morning. I woke up at 4:30 and now it is 4:45. 12 hours, 15 minutes past. What I thought about, how many minutes my moment is going to God. Think about that seriously. That is called the love for God is generating. Don't have to tell anybody. We can ourselves, with this measuring stick in us, we can measure every day. The bhakta or devotee achieves this passion in a smooth and natural way. Like why bhakta? He need not have to curb his attachment. He had to see God and love. Simple, very simple. Vedanta said, just get out. Don't look at that. Renounce like poison. Yes, but Bhakta says, no, 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 no. You love only thing whom you are loving, who is God in there. It's a smooth changing our attitude, smoothly changing. So the Bhakta or devotee achieves this passion in smooth and natural way. Let me give an example from the ordinary life of worldly minded people. A man loves a woman. After a while, he is attracted by another woman and begins to love her. And he lets the first woman go. She is wiped out of his mind smoothly, gently, without his feeling the want of her at all. It is a human example, very gross example. It is happening. How love can easily detach. You are not making any effort. When he falls in love with something else, he forgets other things. You love God, then it should be the same thing. You will forget everything and think of God more and more and more and more. Spontaneously it will come. How? Shutting your eyes? Bhakta says no. Keep your eyes open and try to see whom you are looking at. It is God. It is God. And love. Then your love spreads everywhere. And you are detaching from that Maya, whose snare takes everyone to the downgrade level of duality. Saint Francis d'Assels, in his treatise on the love of God, he says what he says, amongst all loves, quote, amongst all loves, God's is so to be preferred that we must always stand prepared in mind to forsake them all for that alone. That is called the renunciation. Wow. Bhakta is easy, and Jnani is much higher. It's nothing that type of nonsense. The same behavior will be detachment attraction for the Atman or thinking of the Atman, and non-Atman should be out of the consciousness. So here also same thing. It is Saint Francis de Sales. There says, amongst all loves, God's love is so to be preferred that we must always stand prepared in mind to forsake them all for that alone. God only and forsake everything. Bhagavat says, na, Twang tu sarvan paritajya grihang sajana bandhusu. Say, Sri Krishna gives advice to Uddhava that when I will not be in the material world, I will die. Then you give up all association with worldly things, your own friend, whom you love, relation, but samadrik, then keep an equanimity of I, that God is in everywhere, and then live in the world thinking of me and my glories. Samadrik vicharasakam. My master often asked, quote ends there. That means Bhakta should also be very bold, have the courage to throw away everything for God, for the cause of God. My master, means Swami Brahmananda here, often urged us to practice. It is through the practice of the presence of God in the heart that we begin to feel the overwhelming love of God for us, and love for it comes naturally. So what the way out? Swami Brahmananda says, practice it. Try to see why are you attracted to anything? Because there is God. Your same beloved Lord as Rama, Krishna or Christ, He is here. That's why my attraction goes. So love for God becomes the natural. Practice, meditate. These are the words of my master, still ringing clearly in my ears. So, Brahmananda Swami emphasized that all the time. So, practice. What to practice? Bhakta will have to practice 24 hours. Jnani also will have to practice 24 hours. Meditator also will have to practice 24 hours. 24 hours meditation is difficult. Well, how will you get the time to sit? We cannot sit for 1 hour, then body starts aching and legs, mind also of course runs everywhere. But with eyes open, you love everything. This is a wonderful practice. Detachment and attachment, simultaneous. Attaching to God inside and detaching to the outer costume. We get attached to the costume. Oh, it looks so good, I love it. It is so bad, I don't dislike. So either in the name or form or attachment. But whose name and form we do not understand. Look at that. People get very much enamored with the external costumes. In the movie world, go how glaring, glittering, and the dress makes every change. A man can be a woman can be a man. One can be a violent killer, serial killer, another can be great lover. Costume change and his mental attitude changing. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, quote, so this love for pleasure of the senses and the intellect is all made dim and thrown aside and cast in shade by the love of God Himself. Bhakti Yoga is the science of higher love. It shows us how to direct it. It shows us how to control it, how to manage it, how to use it, how to give it a new aim, as it were, and from it obtain the highest and most glorious results. That is, how to make it lead us to spiritual blessedness. Bhakti Yoga does not say give up. It only says love, love the highest. This is still Swami Vivekananda. And everything low naturally falls away from him, the object of whose love is the highest. So this is Swami Vivekananda defining that Bhakti Yoga does not say any other thing but how to make us lead to the spiritual blessedness. Bhakti Yoga does not say give up. Ramakrishna's example, we refer the I love my nephew. Ramakrishna said, okay, why not love nephew? Same nephew. But only think that you love Krishna in the nephew. So whatever you are doing for nephew, you are actually doing for Krishna. So whenever you are serving anyone, your mom, your dad, your husband, your wife, your children, so only think that is God I am serving through this costume. That's called spiritual. Another is non-spiritual. So give up. Bhakti Yoga does not say that. But it only says, Swami Vivekananda says on page 107, love the highest. Everything is of your attachment, attraction, because of God only. God is there. And again, Swamiji quote is end. Now, we then live in the world like the lotus leaf. You live in the world, you are a different person. You live without attachment. Lotus leaf, you see the example where water drops away from it to it grows in water. Though it grows in water, one drop of water you put in the lotus leaf and it moves like this, but it does not stick. It's growing in the beautiful example. That's why lotus leaf example is given. Lotus leaf is in the pond only. It grows in the water only. But that leaf is holding the water on it, appears it is holding. So fragile, little wind comes and the leaf moves little bit, but the drop runs away. So it appears that it is love. Oh, Adobe Plus. See? So we then live in the world like the lotus world leaf. Water drops away from it, though it grows in water. Live in the water, but be not on it. It is the suggestion that live in the world, but not of the world. As it is said, let the boat be in the river, in the water, but let the water be not be in the boat. Huh? So in this world, that is called detachment. And it is not giving up anything. It is giving up only me and my idea, rather seeing God. He who serves the great ones, the second point. Second point we have read that he who gives up all attachment, we have discussed about that. Now, second point was who serves the great ones. Now he is discussing on that point. He who serves the great ones can overcome Maya. We have already explained the need for a guru, a spiritual guide. The principal means of attaining supreme love is through the grace of a guru. The service of the guru is very important for the attainment of supreme love and wisdom. In one of the Hindu scriptures we read, he who serves the guru attains the knowledge of Brahman, which is impossible in position Just as only he who digs with a spade gets water, the Guru has the power to give liberation to the disciple. That was the earlier concept. Also, today's concept is same. But now Google has become Guru. You need not have to go to Guru. Previously, really, this all the knowledge was held in the person who is a teacher, whose life he has read all these scriptures. He remembers all these mantras. Books were not available like this. So you go to a teacher and teacher will teach you just like orally, and it's coming from him. So you have to have that attachment for Guru, and Guru also should be kind enough to give that treasure. But even then, today, we can learn from Google and Google search everything, but still, that is a little different than that of the knowledge that comes from a touch of a spiritual person. So, Guru, but the Guru has the power. That is, the real Gurus have the power to liberation, to lead us into liberation. The scripture reveals wonderful truths, but without examples, exemplars of the truth do not become living. Service to such exemplars is necessary for spiritual aspirants. According to the Bhagavad Gita, the seeker must do three things. You go to a teacher, pranipatena, pariprasnena, sevaya. When you go to a teacher, you have to take three steps. First, you go humbly salute. He will be then understanding, oh, he needs something. Then pranipata. Then you just go and talk. What to talk? Put questions. Puri prasna. Spiritual question. What is your question? Reading books, people may put question. That is not the question. But whatever spontaneously comes from the heart, I'm not understanding this, really. Then you ask that question. Puri prasna. And third point, to serve him. So 3 points have been mentioned. To go to a teacher, Guru will have pranipatena, first going and bowing down before him, pranipatena, pariprasnena, then asking for questions, your burning question of the heart, and third, sevaya, by service to the holy person.
What if someone does not have any question?
That means he is not really serious.
Not serious, because he knows probably by the heart that the Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya.
That intellectual knowledge, knowing intellectual is not. You have to ask, I know that. Books, tell it the book will be the Jnani. Book knows that. How many books are written in the world? Brahma Jnana is written there. So they will be all Mahajnanis, or the composers who are putting the typing, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. Those who are printing the press and binding, they see, oh, it is Brahman. It's life, it should come from life, it has no meaning. Burning question, it will happen when one has the genuine question, then genuine reply comes. See what happened. Very good question. When Swami Vivekananda, do you think he's an ordinary student? He does not understand. He has not read all this book. He can read books within 5 minutes, this big book of the scriptures. But he was frantically asking, have you seen God? That was his burning question. That means he is verifying, is it possible to know God? And then running from every door, and then point came to Ramakrishna. And also Ramakrishna seeing does not mean end. His question, why this, why that? How do you say? It is all your hallucination of the mind. I have understood that. And I also see that. But I don't see the Brahman or God there. And you are talking about that question. That question will be spontaneous. That's why Two people have no question, who have understood perfectly and who are dull and unintelligent. In between people will have questions. They will have put intelligent questions. That's why there is one time, there is one Tarashar Pandit, Tarkaratna. He was great scholar of that time. He used to teach the sadhus, monks of our Belur Math headquarters. So all sadhus used to come. Those who are Mahapurush Maharaj's disciple, Raja Maharaj's disciple. That time they are the people. When he used to give classes, and our Madhavananda Maharaj used to come to join that class, who was the general order. He used to put intelligent question. And as soon as he used to, the scholar, Tarasar, sadhu, sadhu. Wow, wow, wonderful question. Well asked question. The teacher becomes very happy when an intelligent question comes. You have to poke, that is poking of the honey. He has it, he has much treasure to give, but who will ask the questions? So that questioning, and also it proves that you really are seeking for something, not superficial. Those who have nothing to, just for superficial knowledge, you go and ask something, and many people will see. You ask something and you are talking something, and they are turned back and they're putting a question and they do their things. They do their discussion starts there. But if you are really willing to know, then you should be very deep and your question will be profound. From the heart it will come. Unless you get satisfied, it will not be solved. So, according to the Bhagavad Gita, the seeker must have three things. He must prostrate before the Guru, which means he must approach him humbly with a heart full of longing to realize God. Then he must have questioned him. When the Guru instructs him, he should not just accept his words at face value, but try to understand the teaching in order to remove all doubts from his mind. You put a question, you know the question. You have read this book. No, that's a superficial, shallow knowledge, intellectual knowledge. So you have to put question there also. So Vedanta, that's why wants student to inquire, to those who can inquire about the truth. Questioning is a very good sign for spiritual growth, indicates that not unnecessary question. As you said, I have no question, and just for question's sake I am putting question. But most of us think I have no question. But it's true that you are really realized soul. You have no question there. Or really you are such dull that you cannot put any question. So in between is that questioning. No question for dull people because his mind does not work well. In between is the questioning period. Third is you have got the response of the question. So we have to understand, therefore, questioning is good. Questioning means you have thought over the subject and you find that is not fully satisfied. Shravana, Manana, and Nididhasana. Shravana is listening, but to make it Manana, reflecting, then the doubt will come. And when the doubt is less, then you are progressing. Do. If your doubts are less, then you are progressing. But are you really parallelly going to the first point? Are you feeling detached from the world? Is your attraction for God is the predominant factor? Or you are loving this, as we say, I love God and I also love everything. Swamiji said that people love some Chinese, Japanese vase, very decorative vase, no? So I love Chinese, one Chinese. I love also God. God is also I love, and another thing also I love. That means your love is split into 100,000 directions. But if you want to love God, it should be one point. So that's the first question. This is the second question. To go to a teacher and to question unless your doubts are gone. Also, you must give personal service. To give personal service to the Guru, though very important, does not necessarily means that's important. Service in a physical sense. Huh? You want to go to serve your guru just physically. It's not possible. Maybe one guru may have 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 devotees. No? So, what will do? He will, if 100,000 people come to serve the guru and hold his leg, then his leg will be torn and gone. I want to massage the guru's feet. Say, what is happening? Light is flickering.
Turn off your mouth.
Okay. So, he must, personal service is not meant. All this service does not mean the personal service. But what to be, it is the service means, in one of the Upanishads, we read what it says, hear the truth of Brahman from the lips of a guru, then reason upon it, and lastly meditate upon the truth as instructed by him. Thus, service to the guru also means following his teachings. That's very important. People take it very easily, going to a guru and just serving. No. And as I said, serving guru is very difficult because when you be close to him, you see the human imperfections and your devotion goes away. Then you become one, as if I'm the same with my, what he knows. I also know, he also knows. But for spiritual life, it does not work. So he says, the service of the guru to the guru also means following the teachings. Swami Shivananda, one of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, once said, quote, do you think that those of you who attend on me personally are the only ones who are serving me? Those who are in different centers of the Ramakrishna order, and even in far off countries, through though they do not see me, are also serving the Lord and serving me by serving this cause of our Master and by the practice of contemplation and meditation. Wonderful idea. Swami Shivananda said this to his intimate attendants who are serving him with food, with other necessities of the daily life. No? He thinks, do you think that you are only serving me? Those who are far away, suppose some are many Mahapurush Maharaj disciples in this country, and also in India, also different centers away from the Guru. No, they are in different places away from Belur Math. No, so they don't get a chance to see the Guru even, but they are serving the Sangha, this order, the duties of the ashrama. That is service to God. And that is Guru service. Our Guru is not man. Our Guru is the principle. So this is, Mahaprabhu, this very wonderful idea. Do you think that those of you attend on me personally are the only ones who are serving me? Those who are in different centers. Centers means all over we have 190 centers in India or whatever. They are all serving the Lord through the center by worshipping the puja in the puja, kitchen service, doing the homeless service for the education of the students they are doing. They are also serving me. What a beautiful word. Those who are in different centers and even in far off countries, those who are not even in India, they are sent to different countries. Singapore, in early days, Singapore, then Malaysia. So those sadhus who came over there, US, America, they are far away from their gurus. But how they are serving? They are also serving Guru. That means you serve the ideas for which the Guru is there. So they are serving me by serving the cause of our Master. That means the cause of the Master. Why this Ramakrishna order is established, these Vedanta societies, to live a Vedantic life and to talk to people to awaken their awareness. So this is also service to Guru. Then the third point comes, as we have discussed. Third point is this, that third point is that who is freed from the sense of I and mine. Who is freed from the sense of I and mine. What is that? It has already been explained that Maya is ignorance. Our true nature is divine, pure, free, and enlightened. But it is Maya, the darkness of ignorance, which covers this light of Brahman within us. So that we every day read that. We are divine, but we do not know why. The Maya. Maya covers. So there is a similar truth taught in the Zen Buddhism. I quote here the song of Zazen by Hakim. What he says, quote, all beings are primarily Buddhas, like water and ice. There is no ice apart from water. There are no Buddhas apart from beings. Not knowing how close the truth is to them, beings seek for its afar. What a pity. What he says, all beings are Buddhas. See, all we say everything is Brahman. But here, the song of Zazen, the Zen Buddhist, he says, everyone is a Buddha, like water and ice. There is no ice apart from water. Here is ice, small block. There is another ice block. These are a human being you can see. But they are all Buddhas. They are all water. There is no Buddhas apart from me. Not knowing how close the truth is to them, being seek for it afar. They don't know that is so close everywhere around. They want to seek God in the Himalayas, high Himalayas. They want to go to the deep cave somewhere in the secluded place, being seek far apart. What a pity. It is like those who being in water cry out for water, feeling thirst. It is like the rich man's son who has lost his way among the poor. So, like that, no? You are digging. That's why Ramakrishna said, Jannabi tire Trishna kator, Andho jejon khuje sarobar, Ramakrishna puto Ganga, Brahmananda sagore dhai. The song says the same way, that one person is thirsty and the flow Ganga is flowing, full of water. That fool, he wants to dig a well on the bank of the Ganga. Arey, the Ganga is full of water. Just touch that, drink that. But you are digging another hole. That means you are searching for God somewhere else, ignoring God in front of you. Swami Vivekananda says, the poor, the needy, the hungry, they are your God. Let them be your God. How he brought this Vedanta idea and Bhakti idea in a practical level. Going to search for them. And Swamiji's poems are beautiful. He said that I also searched for God in hill and dell and mountain caves, and far away. And everywhere I searched and I got the response, it is not here, not here, not here. No. Ultimately I understood that it is here in me. Oh Lord, and miss him. I see God in the smiling child, in the flowers, in the sky, in the mountains, in the caves, everywhere. I see God everywhere. So that is the point. Seeing. So it is like those who being in the water is crying out of water, feeling thirsty. It is like the rich man. He is the rich man's son who has lost his way and among the poor feels I am a poor person. The reason why being transmigrate through the six worlds is because they are lost in the darkness of ignorance. Wandering from darkness to darkness, how can they ever free from birth and death? So this is the Buddhist Zazen Hakim and the Zen Buddhist. And the first begotten son of this darkness of ignorance is the sense of ego. Huh? Because you are ignorant, that's why this I don't see it. But what is the first born of this ignorance? Ignorance brings out ego, separateness. First dangerous thing is ego. That's why in the Panchakosha, you can compare in the five sheath idea in the Vedanta. Ego is the last, close to Brahman. That is the, and ego is the starting point and also the end point. I and mine. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when the ego dies, all troubles cease. The clouds cover the light of the sun. The moment the clouds move away, the sun becomes visible. The ego is like that cloud covering the light of Atman or Brahman. When through the grace of the Guru and by following his instructions, the ego disappears. The truth of God becomes revealed. God's grace comes when our ego. Ramakrishna also said, water does not accumulate on the high mount. It comes to the bottom, no, where is a low ground. So God's grace comes there where there is egolessness. That's why bhaktas say, oh, I am nothing, oh Lord, you are everything. I am your servant. Please, you are the boss. So guide me. St. Francis d'Assise writes in his letter to persons in religion, or quote, what he writes, God wants you wholly and without reserve and to the very utmost stripped and denuded of self. This is small self. So you should take out the drastically. You should nude yourself by taking out the ego covering. That is without any, it is to be stripped up totally from our lower self. This is lower self. Take out that lower self. Throw away that lower self. I am not. See, Vedanta. Vedanta says what? I am not the body, not the mind, not the lower self. I am Atman, I am Atman, I am Atman. So it says, St. Francis also is writing the same way. God wants you wholly and without reserve and to be very utmost stripped and denuded of self. The difference between Brahman and the individual soul is created by the sense of I, which stands between. If you hold a stick on the surface of a lake, the water will appear to be divided into two parts. But in reality, the water is one. It appears as two. It appears as two. Why? Because of the stick. The sense of I is the stick. I. All the fight goes on with individual, with the neighboring people, with Hindus, with Muslim, I, my, with country, with another country, I, my. So it is the society, in family life, in life of even we are in the renounced people. I am greater than that, this guru is greater than that guru, I, me, mine. So that is the sense of I stick which separates us from God. What is the sense of I then? That which says, I am this, I am that, I am intelligent, I possess so much wealth, I am great, I am powerful. How to get rid of this I and the sense of I and mine? Sri Ramakrishna gives some very practical instructions at this point. First, he explains that it is only in samadhi that the ego disappears completely. First of all, you have to understand. Ego will remain with us. Only it will go in samadhi. But grosser ego to finer ego to finer ego to finer ego. and God's ego more growing. God's ego, I am yours, or I am that idea. Then he says, it generally clings to us. We may discriminate 1,000 times, but the sense of I is bound to return again and again. You may cut the branches of a fig tree today, but tomorrow you will see that new twigs are sprouting. This is all Ramakrishna quote from Gospel. If this sense of I will not leave, then let it stay as the servant of God. O God, thou art my Lord, I am thy servant. Think in this way. I am his servant, I am his devotees. There is no harm in this kind of I. Through prayer and repetition of his holy name, with extreme longing, God can be reached without fail. These are all Ramakrishna. Continues. If this attitude of a servant be genuine and perfect, then passion and anger will drop up, leaving off a scar in the mind. This eye of a devotee does not harm to any creature. It is like a sword which is after touching the philosopher's stone is turned into a gold. The sword retains the same form, but it cannot cut or injure. A golden sword, people don't go to cut something. So this sword, iron sword, with the touch of God, this body mind, eye, will be purified. It will be golden eye. The dry leaves of the coconut tree drop up in the wind, leaving a mark on the trunk. That mark proves that there was a leaf there at one time. Similarly, the scar of the sense of I remains in the mind of one who has realized God, but his whole nature is transformed into that of an innocent child. Child's sense of I is not attached to the worldly objects. Quote ends. So here he says, let your ego be there, but keep the ego like a child's ego, not attached. Child will love one subject now, and next moment he can throw away. He has no connection with it. Furthermore, Sri Ramakrishna continues, what? Again, quote, a householder should take care of his children, but at the same time he should think of them as baby Krishna, or as his children of God. Serve your father as God, and your mother as divine mother. Serve God who dwells in all. Quote ends. Sri Ramakrishna also taught this prayer. I am the machine, thou art the operator. I am the house, thou art the householder. I speak as thou makest me speak. I act as thou makest me act. So your I is there. I am there. I am the machine, I am the house. But you are the machinist. Machine, machinist. House, householder. I am speaking. I speak. But as you make me speak. I act as thou makest me act. The aspirant must try to free himself from the idea that he is the doer. So the 3 points are very elaborately discussed here by the Swami, and also quoting Ramakrishna, quoting what you call the Zen Buddhist, what is his name? Hakim. And we have learned from Brother St. Francis. It's not of Assisi, but St. Francis da Sales. So all these things, the 3 points to be practiced. That is the verse number 46 ends here. What if any question is there, we'll go for that. Acha. Question. Until we realize our true self, seeing God in everything and everyone, Is it just imagination? Yes, true, it is imagination for us. So if we say that I see God in others, is an imagination? You can say imagination because I have not experienced it, but it has a difference between imagination and the truth because it is imagination for me, but truth for the people who have realized. You cannot say the stars are there, distant stars are there. Someone says, oh, you are seeing, looking at this. I see there are maybe 1 million stars. You are looking at that one big star. Just at that one spot, there will be millions of stars. If someone tells, I say, if I believe in it, I say, yes, that can be because they are far away. My gross eye cannot see. If I can use the telescope or even powerful anything, then we can see in a patch how many millions of stars may be there. So, is it imagination? Yes, in one sense, it is imagination. But it is not imagination because it is scientific truth. Similarly, God is everywhere. As a Buddhist monk, Jajen, he said that it is everywhere. Buddha is everywhere. I don't see Buddha. Yes, I don't see. It may be imagination for me, but it is not imagination, it is true. Buddha is everywhere. Christ is everywhere. Ramakrishna is everywhere. Satchidananda is everywhere. Only terminology is different. Yes, we will have to first. That's why you have to go to Guru. That's why Guru says, you this, see this, practice this, try to see God in everyone. Then you feel that all your action is dedicated to God. These are the teachings from Guru comes to us. And we have to practice, practice, practice. And it has been proven again and again. Those who have practiced, we read this book just now, that Swami Brahmananda Maharaj used to tell this Swami Prabhuvananda and other disciples, practice, 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 practice. As we practice, this will reveal. Then it is no more imagination. But it is a noble imagination. It's a blessed imagination. Imagination is imagination where there is no truth and you are imagining. So there is nothing, you are imagining a ghost. That's called false imagination. Normally we know, we understand imagination. But if there is one thing, and somebody tells you, go and find it, but from a distance I don't see it. But you move, 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 and come to the point, then you see it. So it is not imagination, it is a blessed imagination. Our gurus teach us, okay, close your eyes, try to think of God in your heart. No? True, it is imagination. For me or for people like those who are not adept, they close their eyes and what they see? Nothing. There we are told to imagine. Imagine your Ishta is sitting there with full of joy, face beaming with joy, radiant, is sitting there gracefully. It is imagination for me. But you go on doing every day, every day, every day, you will find really there is a living entity. It's always there. And you never recognize that. You ignore that. So it is no imagination. It is a blessed imagination which leads us to the realization. So this is very important point. Yes, we start with imagination. Even I say everything is Brahman. It's a word. It is imagination. But how many people think from the history? If you go to the world history, the sincere seekers who are searching for God and saw God everywhere, how many of them have verified again and again and again? I have not seen it, but scientists have seen it before. Spiritual scientists have done that before. So I think everything is true. We'll have to do it. এই চলে গেল। হ্যাঁ, গান। So, so practice. I think it is imagination. Today, Swamiji said in one place, today's imagination is tomorrow's realization. It's a proverb, no? Today's imagination is tomorrow's realization. A young schoolboy of fifth grade, fourth grade imagines I'll be a scientist, I'll be an astronaut, I'll go to the moon, I'll cross the Everest. Whatever imagination, it is imagination at the beginning, but if he is sincere and moves on and on and on, he succeeds. There are examples infinite. Another question, Andrea. Can japa be offered as service to God and Guru? Of course. When you do japa, it reminds us of God's name. God's name and God, they are not too different. Whenever we repeat the God's name, then we actually visualize His presence and His qualities also. So, this is also really Guru Seva. That's why it is said, what is the right type of service to Guru? Is to follow the instruction, what Guru has given, and to practice that. Guru will be much pleased to see the spiritual aspirant or the student is progressing in spiritual life, is becoming more and more joyful inside, is feeling the tangible presence of God day by day, more and more. So that will be the service. And to please Guru, this is a question of pleasing the Guru. So how to please Guru? You can bring something for physical something, but it may not be. Some people bring something which the Guru may not like it. Rather, but he will be happy if you bring something of his choice. But real Gurus will be much happy if the student is practicing and developing full inner peace and joy and tranquility. That is the satisfaction of a Guru. Like a good teacher. What the good teacher, real teacher, they want, their student should be much intelligent and much established in life and understand the subject much deeply. That's why it is said, it is a glory to a teacher to accept defeat to his students. That means their realization should go on more and more. So japa and meditation or any spiritual practice is a service to Guru. Even in your day-to-day work situation, as we just read, that when you think something that you are serving God, even don't understand. We don't have to realize that I'm giving a glass of water to a person who is asking for some service. You think that you are giving to God. That itself is your spiritual progress. At least you're thinking. How many people think? Do all everything. As you are mopping the floor, you think that you are serving God. It's for God's love you are doing. And this service goes to God. So this is how to keep our mind always awakened in that consciousness. That is the
So I have a question.
point.
So how come that we get to a point of, as you're saying, of peace and tranquility and start to feel more the inner presence inside, but then another day it seems that nothing's happening. So when we learn to ride bicycle, we don't forget the next day. What happens to it? So the inner feeling disappears, goes away?
No, it does not go away. It remains, but its intensity becomes not being strong. It does. We don't feel that same intensity. But That's why there is a play of the mind. Mind sometimes cooperate, mind sometimes does not cooperate. But whatever practice against the mind, we are creating new impressions. Mind wants us always to think the way as we are trained from our childhood to think. Now we are putting that mind to change in a different plane, different way, direction. The world taught us that this is your own people, these are your neighboring people, these are your people of other country, this that division. And now this Bhakti Sutra or others are saying same God everywhere. So if I try to think, it is thought and it is not so strong. So one day I find joy in doing thinking like that, and next day that thought is gone. That thought is not gone. That impression should be made deeper and deeper and deeper. Again practice, again practice, again practice. I forgot. But ultimately, it is why we forget? Because our mind's tendency, we have created that tendency. We have given more emphasis to the world rather than God. That's why anything worldly becomes very deep in our psychology. But when we practice this, a time comes when you will find that no, this will dominate. The tidbits of life will then be meaningless. So it is a practice, and it is no, you are not, it is not true that you are not progressing. That's also progress. Sometimes, as I say, the example, remember that when you wave, no? The mind is like wave, no? Sine curve. Sine curve goes like this and this and this and this, no? Different types of curvature maybe. But everywhere, if you start your spiritual journey here, by this journey, you are moving. You are moving this way. Growth is happening. But we have to be more strong. Acha, here is one question. How do we know our Ishto Devata? Normally, our Ishta Devata means uh, you will know yourself because your family tradition may be one way. There you like more of Krishna or another, or you may like more of the Shiva attitude in your. If you think about the different form of gods and goddesses and incarnations, no, you may have a choice that you can know where you love to see. Some families, children are born with their parents and they are doing Krishna, 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 Krishna. They are ingrained in that Krishna idea. So it may be easy for them to go to Ishta. But when your Guru can guide you, what will be your Ishta. So it is you and your Guru will decide what will be your Ishta. Sometimes I may, Holy Mother, sometimes someone says, what is your Ishta? And somebody says, I like Ma Kali. And then Ma, pausing for some time, says, no, Ba, my child, your Ishta is like this, something else. So they are extraordinary gurus. They understand what is in the deep sanskara inside, predominant ideas you have thought in this life, other life, like that. So that is the Ishta. Ishta Devata means what you choose to be. So that you know your Guru will tell you. That's the point. Another question, practically, when you see or interact with others, how can you see them as God? Should you place them in your heart and see them as one's Ishta? Make mental pranams to them? Yeah, when we look at someone, we can think that my Ishta is sitting there. So mentally you can do salute, you need not have to do physically everything. And whenever you are serving anyone, then you think that I am serving the Ishta in that person. Sometimes it may be also some person is very bad guy. Then how will you do that? You go to that person and give your mental respect, but you can scold him. That is also your love. because you are seeing the Ishta there, but the manifestation is not like everyone is God, but everyone does not behave like a God. No. So therefore, external behavior may be according to the costume, but internal behavior will be I love everyone. Because even in the enemy, I can be away from them. That is your respect. That is your love for God. If a person who is disturbing, to be to be away from those people, that's also a spiritual practice. So our action should be to see God in them or see your Ishta Devata. While interacting mentally, I will think, I am giving this water to, I do not like one person. But when I'm serving anyway, I think I am serving who is inside. And outside, exterior is bad. Sometimes we say, oh, the man is good, his exterior is rough. We use this term. The exterior is the one thing which we see. But what is the interior? Most interior is God, the divine. So we can feel that way, that I love that interior person who is interior in my heart, interior in everywhere, interior in the pews, interior in the trees, plants, sky, moon, sun, stars, rocks, in the evil, devil to the holy. Interior is the same. So I am interacting with that interior through the exterior costume. So this is the some type of thing which you can practice every day. I think enough. So thank you all for joining, and hope to see you at 7:30, 7:30 in the evening. Again with nectar of supreme knowledge. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all.